I want to start off. I guess we'll start with Dane and Jacob. How did you see this character as someone? Because he's going for, of course, religious freedom, but he's also going to start this life, and he has kind of a wide-eyed feel about him when he first starts out. So, how did you kind of see his journey as you kind of go through this?
Yeah, well, his journey is an intense one. I think he's leaving, he's seeking, yeah, like you said, he's trying to escape religious persecution. He's trying to make it to this land that has been promised to the Mormons by uh, Brigham Young. And he obviously in the first episode he goes through a lot. There's a massacre on his people. He's partially scalped and survives. And so the rest of his journey is about avenging this massacre on his people and finding his wife that he's convinced is alive. Um, all the while going through severe head trauma psychosis because of the injuries he sustained from this massacre. But his journey never falls away from the fact that, like, he does keep faith alive. He does believe he's meant to be in Salt Lake City with his people. He believes him and Abish, his wife, are meant to be together, and he believes God's on his side, and that's what propels him forward every single day. So, in a lot of, I guess you could make the argument that he's the same person in the beginning as he is in the end. He's just gone through a lot, but deep down he's the same person, and that's what keeps him optimistic and keeps him waking up in the morning and going.
Yeah, I think people are going to love this arc, and more importantly, before I get to Kim, I have to say that when it comes to like stories like this, like it's so interesting how like the reality of things sets upon you too. So what was that? What was that kind of like notion of the reality of things too? Because his reality changed quite quickly.
Yeah, well, I think, Jacob, as a Mormon, probably experienced a lot of hate, isolation, and persecution towards himself and his fellow Mormons up until this part of his life. So I think that's what he was trying to escape in the first place. I think it's, again, his faith that keeps him optimistic. But yeah, it's when he realizes the journey he's on and the dangers of it that everything really gets super intense really fast, for sure.
Right. Kim, when it comes to Brigham Young, of course, there's a lot of history there too, but it's also a stalwart person who kind of like defines what Utah is and what it became too. So how did you kind of see him in this character as you kind of portrayed him?
Yeah, I had to question, okay, so why did Peter Berg want me to play Brigham Young? Like, yes, there was a similarity of the blue eyes and the cheekbones and the stare and his stature, but and so the conversation that he and I had about Brigham Young before this thing started to film, I had a couple of months to get into the research and read all the books and do all the stuff that I needed to do for myself and I guess for the piece as well. You're playing Brigham Young. Whether you have thoughts about the Mormon religion or not, you're playing Brigham Young. So in a way, you better be ready to go with playing this guy because there's going to be conversations about it from the Mormons to other people, to other people, to other people, non-religious people, fully religious people. You're playing Brigham Young, and it's based on a bit of a true story. This Mountain Meadows massacre, Derek, it really happened. So I think that was my weight to bear of playing such a guy, whether you champion him or not. You want to be truthful to the script, to the time. What did Brigham Young know about this Mountain Meadows massacre? How involved was he? He is God's first guy that God will go through before it gets to the rest of his flock. So he really is in charge of all of it in a way. But it was fun to try and find those moments and make those choices for our show that we did.
You did a fantastic job. Well, I always love the characters you bring out. So not a problem. I want to tell you, thank you both for your time, and we'll make sure to talk about this. And I hope everyone in your worlds is happy and healthy as well.